We have some of the most shocking breaking news in the history of this channel, and that's saying a lot, because Marjorie Taylor Greene has just announced that she is resigning from Congress. Yes, you heard that correctly. In a video posted just minutes ago, Marjorie Taylor Greene is stepping down from her seat in Congress. In the process, she has dropped a major bomb related to Donald Trump, which we are going to unpack and break down fully. But before we dive in, if you want to support this coverage, please hit the subscribe button and leave a like on this video. It really helps support our work. Now, before we get to her resignation video and the ripple effects it could have on the Republican majority, let's start by looking at what she recently said about Donald Trump and the Epstein files. This context is critical to fully understand the significance of her announcement.
That's what we did by fighting so hard against the most powerful people in the world, even the President of the United States, in order to make this vote happen today. I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for. And I gave him my loyalty for free. I won my first election without his endorsement, beating 8 men in a primary. And I've never owed him anything, but I fought for him for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. A patriot is an American that serves the United States of America and Americans like the women standing behind me. And I want to tell you that this only became possible today because the American people whom we serve as representatives here in Congress demanded that this vote happen, and they put more pressure on every single elected politician in this city than has ever been put on them. And today you are going to see probably a unanimous vote in the House to release the Epstein files, but the real fight will happen after that.
I don't think we should excuse Marjorie Taylor Greene for her many misdeeds, including inciting violence, harassing school shooting survivors, and all the other harmful actions she took while in Congress. That said, her role in helping to secure the release of the Epstein files is something for which she does deserve some recognition. However, it's important to understand the larger political strategy behind her actions. I don't believe that deep down, Marjorie Taylor Greene has had a genuine change of heart or now sees the world differently in a way that motivates her to act in the best interest of the country. Her focus is political, and that's why her announcement video is so interesting. It sheds light on the MAGA movement and helps explain her timing and messaging. We'll only watch a brief portion of the video, just enough to get a sense of her statement, so don't expect to sit through the entire announcement.
Hi everyone. I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C. and just never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. I have too much self-respect and dignity. I love my family way too much, and I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms, and in turn be expected to defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me. It's all so absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine, and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can never ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well. Until then, I'm going back to the people that I love, to live my life to the fullest as I always have, and I look forward to a new path ahead. I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026, and I look forward to seeing many of you again.
Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning from Congress is a significant blow to an already fragile Republican majority. This move further undermines Donald Trump's influence because he no longer has her support on key issues. While her seat will eventually be filled through a special election, there will be a period in which passing legislation becomes even more difficult for Trump. What Greene says in her announcement is particularly striking. She is effectively declaring that the MAGA movement is finished. While I don't want to give her undue credit, she seems to have a keen understanding of the MAGA base, perhaps more so than most others. She recognizes the internal fractures and the decline of the movement. By stepping away, she signals that a different political direction will be needed to carry forward Trump's legacy. Greene is as extreme and conspiratorial as Trump, if not more so, and she has little regard for the Constitution or rule of law. Yet, her announcement resonates because it highlights the fractures within the MAGA coalition. The MAGA movement, built on the idea of upending a broken political system, is now revealing its internal weaknesses. Just as Trump rose to prominence by positioning himself against the Republican establishment, Greene is now signaling that she will not follow a movement she views as irreparably broken, influenced by corporate and lobbyist interests. Her resignation is more than personal. It's a political statement. It shows her willingness to challenge and even destabilize the Republican Party and the MAGA movement, echoing the boldness Trump once showed when he threatened to run as an independent if the GOP didn't support him. Greene's shift is historically significant because it reflects a fracture in the movement from within. Importantly, her break with Trump didn't begin with the Epstein files or policy issues like ACA tax credits. It started with AOC's criticism, which highlighted broader ideological and strategic disagreements.
Some tea for you. MTG, people are like, oh my God, she's saying all of these things. Like, what's gotten into her lately? Oh, like she's bucking against Trump. She's bucking against the administration. Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to run for Senate in Georgia. She wanted to run for Senate earlier this year in the state of Georgia. She wanted to be the Republican nominee for Senate. So she was gearing up for that statewide race, and Trump told her no. Trump said no. And the White House and Trump land shut down Marjorie Taylor Greene's personal ambitions to run for Senate. And she has been on a revenge tour ever since.
Marjorie Taylor Greene simply had her feelings hurt. That's it. End of story. She had ambitions to run for Senate or governor or to pursue higher office, and Donald Trump said no. That rejection is what set her off. She felt excluded from the inner circle. Greene is not a typical Washington insider, but within the MAGA fringe and those close to Trump, she likely saw herself as part of that inner sanctum, especially as Trump himself was becoming increasingly isolated in politics. When she realized she wasn't in that inner circle, she snapped. She pulled back, figuratively taking her ball and going home. The blow to Trump is significant. Not just because Greene is an effective fundraiser for the party, but because her departure disrupts the MAGA base and undermines party momentum. This situation is politically chaotic for Trump. He now faces the reality of losing a key supporter, and her exit will dominate attention. Predictably, Trump is likely to react with fury and lash out at her, just as he has publicly in the past.
I don't know what happened to Marjorie. She's a nice woman, but I don't know what happened. She's lost her way, I think. But I have to view the presidency as a worldwide situation, not locally. I mean, we could have a world that's on fire where wars come to our shores very easily if you had a bad president. We had a horrible president, and we ended up with Russia-Ukraine, and we ended up with other disasters, too. Don't forget, I put out 8 wars, 9 to come. I think I'll get the other one taken care of, but I put out 8 wars. And look at the damage that Russia-Ukraine has done to us as a country. I mean, we spent $350 billion. We're not spending any money anymore. Now they pay us through NATO. You know, I got NATO to go from 2% to 5%. Well, that's very important. When you're president, you really sort of have to watch over the world because you're going to be dragged into it. Otherwise, you're going to be dragged into a world war. I think if I weren't president, first of all, that war would have never happened if I was president. And if I weren't president, that war could have led to World War III. It won't. It's not going to anymore. But when I first got in, I said, wow, this situation could lead to World War III. And I got NATO together. I got everybody together. But with all of that, I passed a great, big, beautiful bill, which is the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country. So when somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's now catering to the other side, I don't know what, I guess she's, got some kind of an act going, but I'm surprised at her. But when somebody like Marjorie goes over and starts making statements like that, it shows she doesn't know. I don't devote a lot of my time.
I can't wait to see the tirade that Donald Trump is likely to unleash on Truth Social. It's going to be him losing his composure, melting down, and imploding because even with his cognitive decline, he seems to realize that this could mark the beginning, or perhaps even the middle of the end. Marjorie Taylor Greene has delivered a brutal blow. She is signaling that it's over for Trump. With her departure, his hold on MAGA and his influence over the Republican Party is significantly weakened. I don't view Greene as some transformative or heroic figure, far from it, but she has been central to the MAGA base. Losing her support is a major setback for Trump, and that is why her statement carries such weight. It is a clear signal that his grip on power is slipping, and the repercussions will be felt across his movement.
And I would like to say humbly, I'm sorry for taking part in the toxic politics. It's very bad for our country. And it's been something I've thought about a lot, especially since...
I do not forgive Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is, in my view, a self-interested person. What she did to push for accountability regarding Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, Ghislaine Maxwell's abuses, and Donald Trump's misconduct was commendable. But in my opinion, it was also a calculated political move. Greene knew her influence in MAGA and any future ambitions were limited, and this action gave her a final media moment before stepping away. Mark my words, Marjorie Taylor Greene will run for president, likely building on the attention from these last few months. I do not trust her, and neither should you. Her focus remains on herself. When Trump made violent threats against Democrats, Greene said little to hold him accountable. That said, I will take great satisfaction in watching the collapse of this MAGA movement, and we will cover it here on this show. To support that, hit the subscribe button, leave a like, and if you made it to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.